Hey friends and family. Hey, it's been a minute. Wow, this year of 2023. Whoa, this is just insane. So yeah, I've been put through the ringer myself. I feel like I'm on a spin cycle in the cosmic washing machine. Yeah, that's one of my favorite analogies when I feel like, oh, I'm just all out of sorts and all don't even know, like, you know, heads from tails. And I know, like, I'm not alone in that. And so I'm just turning it around and flipping the script and, yeah, telling a new story and starting a new story, writing a new story, living a new story. Because, man, the old stories are just tired stories. They're so tired and they're not true. And so I do appreciate those stories for helping me to see, like, what I could reclaim, what I could rename, what I could reframe, what I could unname for myself. And just kind of looking into some things now that it's June of 2023. It's the second half of the year. I have some optimistic feelings. And I know that everything that I've been through has brought me here. Yeah, with new levels of strength and wisdom gained through experience, new levels of compassion and insight, and yeah, new skills and new courage to face what's right now and what's ahead. And so just coming out of another, like, unpleasant sinus infection. It was really, really, really bad, really uncomfortable, really severe. I'm on my, like, 3rd days of antibiotics now. I really don't like to do that to myself, but yeah, I was having a hard time recovering. So I went into a holistic doctor and got a 5-day antibiotic Z-pack. Yeah, just to clear the rest of this stuff out. And because my throat has been so sore. And I feel like, too, on another level, like, it is, like, helping to cleanse some old things, some energetic ties and beliefs that really kept me from using my voice. And so I do feel like it is all connected in a lot of different ways. So just going through this cleansing and this detoxing and, you know, this illness in order to find my own balance, my own wellness. Gone through a lot this year, a lot of sicknesses and a lot of hospitalizations. And yeah, just really grateful for, you know, the good and the not so good, because it all has something for me. Even if it's not my preference, but it can show me, like, how it is happening for me. Like, that's one of the things that helped me the most last month of May, and was, like, probably one of the longest months I've ever had in my entire life. Yeah, this last 6 months has been like a marathon. It just, really looking back to, like, at the beginning of the eclipse cycle that began in October of 2022, and how that stage was set and how it was setting it up for me to be able to clear some old stuff away and some old patterns that were no longer serving me, and how it just got to be and unfold and unravel and just be the way that it was, and just come, like, through for me, come through my being, like, to make these changes, to change certain things that weren't working for me. I didn't have to do it, like, with sheer will force or anything, just trusting, like, this path, and that trusting my soul and my life, you know, and my path. So I've had some lung issues this year, seemingly like almost come out of nowhere, like after the death of my mom. You know, a couple weeks later I had a lung collapse and was hospitalized for a couple days and came home to recover, and then yeah, was just keep having these recurrent like chest colds or sinus infections or things with the respiratory system. So it's been really kind of strange in a lot of ways. So I had another lung collapse in the middle of May while I was away on a trip with my husband, and I was kind of far away from home, and so I really didn't know what to do. I was kind of familiar with the symptoms and with what was going on, but I had no idea what the best thing or the right thing or the good thing was to do. And I was kind of feeling paralyzed because I wanted to make like a right choice, a good choice, a choice that felt good, you know. And it's just kind of like one of those things where I just had to surrender everything that I thought and just let go and ask for help, you know. And so we were staying at a really, really nice hotel for a conference that was stuff my husband's involved in, and he's been working, you know, with a group and with just different things the last couple years to help empower and teach others and share information and try to help other people that are ready with different steps for claiming their own power, their own sovereignty, their freedom, their power, and their responsibility, wanting to learn, you know, how to be a living man and a living woman. And acknowledge and honor like the gifts that God has given us, and to help other people and to help ourselves. Like God helps those who helps themselves, you know. And so it's just been an interesting journey, like with the things that we've been doing and the different changes that my husband's been going through and in his own growth cycles. And it's been really a pleasure to watch him, you know, find his wings and stretch them and grow them and fly. And so it's been such a joy. And it has also been like a little scary, because it's shaken things up, and I mean, which is a good thing too, so that he can be where he's needed, you know, we can be where we're needed. But that like there's new things, you know, that, and so it has been like a little dance of trust and surrender and all those things. And so I was a little bit nervous to go on this trip in the beginning, like just stretching my comfort zone. I'm a shy, introverted kind of person, although I love people and I love socializing and I love sharing with others and I love listening and connecting with people, especially like-minded kindred spirits who are kind and authentic and all of that, and on their like soul-made path. And I just really do enjoy meeting friends, like these friends that I know I've known before and then I get to know again, you know. And so it's just a little bit like, sometimes it's like awesome to go on a vacation, but it's so great to come back home too. But just staying in a nice hotel and realizing I kind of was like coughing really, really hard and I woke up the next day with a lot of pain, and it was like the same kind of symptoms that I had in March, where I could feel like a chest pain on my right side, in the middle of my chest, and in the back of my shoulder blade, and then on this bottom part of my side. And I was just like, oh my gosh, and feeling shortness of breath, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to worry you or anything, babe, but I feel like I have another lung collapse and I don't know what to do. I didn't know how severe it was. I didn't know if waiting was going to like put pressure or cause stress on my heart or anything. But I was just kind of like, I just don't even know what I can do right now. And so it was like super, super early in the morning. It was like the beginning of the conference, and he was going to have like a super busy day because he had so much to set up. He has a vendor table and like different other responsibilities that he was helping other members with their things, and kind of coordinating everything, like, yeah, with all of these things. And so it's just like, wow, I just got to let him do what he needs to do, and I'm just going to surrender for now. But like, I was kind of mulling over all these thoughts, plan A, plan B, plan C, what can I do? This is like one part of me was like, I just want to go home. I want to go home, and I want to go to the hospital there. And then another was like, well, I don't know, maybe I could just go to the ER in Texas where we were. But I didn't feel good about that either. Like, being like in an unknown place and not knowing, like, yeah, just the fear of the unknown, and what people's viewpoints and positions on certain topics and medical treatments and decisions that people have, like, because a lot of it is engineered, like, false beliefs about like our own bodies, and how like we're dependent like on certain bullshit beliefs, and experts and authorities, external authorities that don't know everything and that don't know what's right for us. I mean, that's just so arrogant to think that because we think we know what's right, or we know what's right for us, or we know what's best for us, that we can know what's best for somebody else or right for somebody else. And it's just like, yeah, that is just really bothers me. When we can be so sure of something and we force our beliefs or our opinions or our preferences on someone else. And, you know, that is not just, you know, that is not right. That is not kindness, and it doesn't allow like the other their own free choice. And so, yeah, having anxiety about what kind of care I was going to be able to receive and what kind of care I needed and all those things just like really kind of stressed me out a little more. I kind of even thought about like getting on a plane and flying back home, but then I thought, oh, that's not good. That's not going to be good for my lung either. Especially if it's already collapsed, like maybe a moderate collapse. I don't know what it's going to do with the pressure in the cabin and the altitude and all that. Like, yeah, probably won't be good. And then later on, I heard from an EMT, oh, you can't do that right now. You can't fly. I was just like, I didn't think I could. So it's just kind of like, well, I guess I'm just kind of stuck here. And I just gotta like let go and ask God for help, and please, you know, please show me the way. Please send help my way. You know, so I just went back to sleep for a couple hours because I really needed the sleep. And then next thing I knew, I woke up and my stepdaughter had come into our room, and she was waking me up, and she says, there's a doctor here that can help you. And I was like, oh, there is? And yeah, I guess like there was a doctor in our group, and someone had asked him if he could come help, and he was an integrative doctor who, yeah, and also a chiropractor. And so like, yeah, he was willing to come and do an assessment and, you know, come help me and do an adjustment and do some acupressure points and everything. And so, yeah, it was so interesting. He gave me an adjustment, and then he did some acupressure points on my neck, which was so strange too, because it was exactly like the places that he was pressing on my neck, it was exactly corresponding to the pain that I was having in my ribs and in my side and in my chest, and that got immediately relieved, like some of the pain that I was in. And so, and he had offered some different supplements that he has formulated himself, and just so that, it's for an expectorant, and to help me get more oxygen into my bloodstream and all of that. So that was super helpful. And then just kind of being on bed rest for 2 days in the hotel room, not doing very much, and just kind of like, okay, this is what I'll do. I'll just get to rest and hang out and watch some TV or some podcasts or whatnot, and just kind of let everybody else do their own thing while I'm in my little room hermiting and everything. And so it wasn't, for like a stressful situation and everything, it actually worked out just fine, and I was able to after resting for a couple of days, I was able to go socialize the third day, the last day that everybody was there, and meet a few people and walk around and then go have dinner and stuff. And yeah, it was nice. And made it home a couple days later, and then the next day went to the hospital went to the doctor to get an order for a chest ray, got the chest x-ray, found out it was this is what the radiologist says, a rather large pneumothorax. You should go to the ER right away and go get a chest tube placed, or, all that. So went to the ER, spent a few hours there. They were so busy that day. It was just kind of like, okay, this is what it gets to be. And just kind of like looking around at everyone who was there, and who, they were needing help as well, and just kind of like sending out ripples of love and compassion and empathy and just gratitude and appreciation for everyone, and asking that everyone, receive what they need for their well-being, and may they be at peace and all that, and just kind of, sharing those intentions and prayers and vibes, just in presence, just being there, and not taking it so seriously, like this is just something I get to do right now, and this too shall pass. And even though do have like those fears and worries, because of like there are different risks of going through certain procedures, having certain drugs, there's possibility for medical mistakes and things like that. But yeah, just kind of like just in total trust, and willing to like pay attention, use discernment, but like really be grateful and appreciative of everyone that's there to help, that's there for their own reasons and their own, life's path, their own lessons, and because in some form, they want to help others as well, And so, it's just, instead of being so resistant about how, some of the allopathic structures have been hijacked and infiltrated and whatnot. Like, there are certain things about the allopathic system that are totally backwards. And, it's not my preference, but it's awesome just to, I guess, work with what I have and use certain resources that are available to me, and pick and choose what works for me to the best of my ability, and trust and listen and ask questions and be open to possibilities. And so I had the best nurses ever. I just always, 98% of my nurses that I've ever had, as I've needed care and whatnot, have been just amazing, beautiful, caring, kind, compassionate, the best kind of people, and just the sweetest souls, and I thank them so much for just them being who they are, and for them bringing their their love and their gifts, like, yeah, to contribute, like, to people who do need the help. Because, man, we do live in a sick society, and we do live in a sick culture where, like, a lot of things have been normalized that aren't normal, really. And they're not, like, it's not natural. Like, a lot of certain things we've been kind of trained and taught and steered away from our own nature and from nature to all these artificial things. And so, yeah, that's just my own rant, my own, like, dislike of how things are run or how they operate in a lot of ways. But, like, I don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater anymore. And I just realized, like, these last couple of years have taught me about that. And how we can find common ground with people of all walks of life. And we all really do want the same things, you know, when it comes down to it. And so we all want a safe place just so we can be, you know, and share and live and give and receive and belong. Yeah, and value, like, this life that we have, and also be valued for our contributions as well, and, like, yeah, and contribute to something bigger than ourselves, you know. And so, yeah, just grateful for all those things. A friend had sent me a beautiful prayer. I'm going to put the message in the description box. I told her, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't send out this package of tea to you because I'm on my way to the hospital. I have a collapsed lung again. And she's like, oh my gosh, don't even worry about that. And then, like, 10 minutes later, she sent me this beautiful prayer, blessing, affirmation that said, there is one God, or there is one love, there is one power, there is one source, and this source flows through me, and it flows through everything. And it was just, like, the most beautiful message of truth that I really needed, that helped me remember what was really true, and remember me, and remember, like, the other. And the other, yeah, the other is a reflection of me, and the other, like, it's just me and God, really. There is no other, really. And so it's just like, wow. So that, like, kind of cut through, like, any of the residual fears that were there, to just kind of let me know I was being carried, and I was protected, and everything was going to be all right. Everything was all right. And so just kind of, like, remembering, yeah, how is this happening for me? Like, really, like, how is this happening for me? And sometimes we don't know until, like, you know, with hindsight, like, what the blessing and what the gift that's actually being offered, even though it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like anything we want. And it doesn't feel convenient ever. Like, when is it ever convenient? When is healing ever convenient? You know, and disruptions, or when we do a pattern interrupt, and all those things. And so I had been cutting down on smoking and all of that, but this kind of, like, was the final the final straw on the camel's back there. And it's been 2 weeks now since I've had a cigarette. I was using the patch for a week or so, and then I stopped using that, and now I'm just doing, like, gum supplementally. And I had been really, really sick, so that helped me not want to smoke at all. Because my throat's been so sore, and I had still been coughing and having, like, some green mucus and whatnot. Like, so it was just, like, not even tempting at all, like, to want to smoke at all. But since I've been feeling better the last couple days, it's been a little harder. I've been feeling the cravings come back again. So like, there's this addict aspect that comes up, and just, like, wants to be sneaky about it. Because, like, yeah, I've been doing great with it. And then my husband was like, he's been going through the garage, some stuff in there, and, like, okay, like, we need to, like, get rid of some stuff again. So he's, like, taking some stuff to, like, donate into the dump and all of that. And I was just like, my little addict whispers, oh, you can go have a smoke while he's gone. And I was like, no, that's silly. Like, you know, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. So it is kind of interesting, like, seeing into this addiction that has been like an old friend, you know. It's like saying goodbye to an old friend that isn't really that great of a friend, but like for the time, like, you know, that I needed that, it was always a dependable, reliable thing, you know, and coping mechanism. And so now it's just like, what do I replace, you know, that with? I don't want to replace it with another vice. Like, yeah, this is like, there was so much energy going into that pattern for so long, it still wants to come up and reinforce itself. And so I know I do have some tools and things I get to choose, like, while I'm reforming new patterns, creating new patterns. And so, yeah, one of the things I'm excited about is I get to just be creative. Again, I kind of put that on the back burner, which is kind of silly. Creating and painting and writing and singing and doing, you know, different things. But I get to get back into that again and put some energy, some of my energy, my creative energy to work for me, just to be creative, to play, and yeah, to learn new ways. And I know I'm stronger than I have believed, and like, I get to reclaim like this power for me, and I get to reclaim and know that it's right for me to rest when I need to rest. I don't need an excuse or an attachment to go sit down for a few minutes, you know, because that's what I would use, like, okay, going to take a break, going to take a smoke break, just so I didn't have to work for those few minutes, or could just like relax. But at the same time, it was like, I noticed the last couple weeks that I was smoking how tense and tight I actually was when I went outside, and how clenched up my shoulders were. And then I would just go, oh, okay, just relax, let those shoulders go, let that tension go in your neck, whatever you're holding, and start to breathe. I was like, maybe that's what I need. It's like just to do like certain different kinds of breath work, or to come back and check in with my body, just checking in to see what condition my condition is in. And so, yeah, just like that kind of stuff, because always so like wound up about, even when I would go relax, I wasn't like present, relaxed. I was always thinking about what I needed to do next. And so that is kind of helping me, like, just to be more present where I'm at, instead of the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And then also, like, yeah, this addiction, it was keeping me from being present, because there was always that next fix, you know, just kind of looking into the hedonist and the aesthetic, yeah, looking into the contrast of those two things too. But yeah, so it's been interesting, really, like the things that are being removed from my life, or different relationships that are shifting and changing and upgrading, you know. So it's kind of, yeah, kind of cool to see and witness. And I've had like a lot of time to myself the last little while, where it actually has hurt at certain points to even try and use my voice to talk. And so just kind of like, yeah, I've been going more within and like within myself, going deeper within myself. And yeah, percolating and fermenting like some things. And I think of like the new wineskin and the new wine that's being cultivated and fermenting within. The quality of that vintage is going to be quite fine. And so, yeah. I started a new journal on April 28th, 2023. The last video that I shared, it wasn't like, it was a spontaneous thing where I was just like, I kind of was a little triggered, and I figured, oh, I'm all worked up about this, I might as well like share a little bit about it, and I had no idea like why or if I really needed a resolution at the time or not, but it was just helpful just to kind of vent some things out, some frustration with some old family dynamics and some old beliefs that I couldn't be what someone else wanted me to be, and I had failed, or like I wasn't enough, and I just like kind of saw through those things. And just like, oh, okay, this is something that I get to clear and release, and or alchemize, or just allow it to be what it is, and kind of see through the lies and into the truth of what's being offered and given, and just be open to receive that. And so after I had done that video, I was just like kind of talking about like just playing into certain dynamics in the family, and like seeing like how frustrated I've been about like sometimes they're not who I want them to be or who I needed them to be, but that's okay too. And like, I'm sorry if I didn't allow you to be who you needed to be for yourself, you know. And kind of letting myself off the hook and forgiving myself and forgiving like those expectations and those unconscious agreements to play in those roles and those patterns, and that, you know, that we knew or that were modeled or molded for us, like, but ultimately don't serve us, and they were dysfunctional. But now, like, there's another way, like, to be, and yeah, we can free ourselves from the things that no longer work for us or no longer serve us, or and no longer align and or are aligned like with what we know is true for us. And so a couple days later, after I had shared that video, I saw some things about BPD, borderline personality disorder, which I'd never really looked into, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this lady is explaining exactly like these things that I've seen. And I was just like, it was uncanny, and I had put those things in the description box because it was like, whoa, this just makes so much more sense to me, because I like on some level I know like that it is a mental illness, that we're not trying to like sabotage ourselves or like stay in victim consciousness or whatever it is, but we just locked into that feedback loop of that trauma. But and it's so easy to reinforce like the victim consciousness with all the things around us telling us, yeah, the same kind of false stories, or hooking us back into those identities or those false identities, or to that false personality that we're really not. And so it's just it was really eye-opening to see some of those things, and just like, oh, that I can work with this now, and I can understand that like when it was put in that way, it just made so much sense. It was like the last couple pieces of the puzzle falling into place. And so that just helped lighten it up so much, that it's nobody's fault, you know, and nobody has to play the wrong one, yeah, or the superior one. It's just like the better and the lesser than. It's like when, you know, using that kind of mechanism to distance myself from someone else because of needing to set a boundary. There needed to be like, I guess, different pros and cons listed out, and there needed to be a wrong one so that I didn't have to be wrong for leaving them or for whatever it was. And so just like kind of seeing into all of these mechanisms that were so noisy and all just tangled, and just seeing it all unravel, like all the falsities, and seeing things for what they really are without all the dressing. And so I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but there it is. And so April 28th, 2023, it seems like there is so much change that wants to come through in and forth and move towards or forwards, being born and manifested through new forms. There's so much energy, momentum, and electricity. I'm ready to rise, transform, and burn, rise again, like the phoenix. And there is some energy or aspect that wants to spark, move, agitate, or activate some dormant, unclaimed energy and create new ways, true ways, whole ways, all ways of Creator's love, informed, embodied. And so we're clearing away all the old and burning away all that we no longer need to carry or burden ourselves with. And I am feeling a little irritated, uncomfortable, and uncertain, insecure and hesitant, a bit of old resistance, breaking up old patterns and survival strategies, comfort zones, old false images and identities, stories, roles, and beliefs. It's a super potent and magical time to be present here as me, alive. The purpose of life is to live and be alive and to love life. Where there is love, there is life. One thing I'm working through and physically or psychically processing is letting go of shadow caregiving, rescuing, enabling the narcissist and the virtuous victim and the beggar, miser, martyr, the entitled, wounded child, and the vampire ghost harpy, mother superior, ego inferior, know-it-all, the self-absorbed epicure. I'm all alone in this world and no one understands me, saboteur. Sad, 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 poor me, self-pity stories, and woe is me, fill misery for me, fill misery with me. And so I wrote a little bit about like the things like that were really like hurting my heart about like this old wound that I've had and that I've played a part in with my younger sister, and certain patterns that have played out or been acted out in my own family with me and my sisters, and with certain females in the family. I've seen that a lot, and certain relationships that I've had with certain females in my life throughout my lifetime. And so it was so interesting to see those BPD videos, and they were really enlightening. They really helped me see the light and see how I had some of those traits as well, and how I have like shifted some of those things within myself, and like how I am grateful that I am self-aware, you know, and I do have a desire to have healthy, happy, like reciprocal relationships with people, harmonious relationships with people. And it's helped me see like, oh yeah, some of the things like where some relationships have really been bumpy because of like certain imbalances or excesses and deficiencies and whatnot. And I don't need to make the other wrong, and I don't need to make myself wrong, and I don't need to make my family wrong. And so I just get to say thank you for helping me like to heal this within myself and to become whole again, like to retrieve some of these soul fragments or these denied aspects and energies, and see like what power I've given away so that I can reclaim it for myself and live a life that is true and peaceful and authentic and loving. Yeah, that's just in service to the whole, like in service to my soul and in service to others, you know. So more balanced and reciprocal. And so sometimes like these triggers and these unpleasant things and these things that don't feel very good, you know, like that can help us yeah, come back to ourselves, come back home to ourselves in new ways, and really see things from wider perspectives and true, full, whole ways. Because we all have been half blind, like feeling our way through the dark, and we all have our own blind spots when it comes to seeing ourselves. That's why we need the other to show us sometimes. And so, it kind of helped me to see, like, some of this, the last couple years where other people were being intolerant and closed-minded and rigid and shut down. Like, okay, you know, that really, really, really bothers me. So where, you know, where can I see that in myself? Where have I been intolerant? Where have I been intolerant of myself? Where have I not been accepting of myself? Where have I not been accepting of others? You know, like, that's different than setting boundaries. Like, yeah, you can do you and I'll do me. But, like, yeah, when we come together and it's a we thing, that's, you know, like, there's got to be like a two-way street. Not just, you know, one way. There's got to be room. There's got to be space. And sometimes, yeah, we haven't held that space for ourselves or for the other in our relationship. We wonder, like, what the fuck? Why isn't this working, you know, or working the way that we want it to? It's just because there's so much shit in the way. And so many stories we've told ourselves, we've gotten so confused and carried away. We're all upside down, you know, so it's just like, yeah, kind of facepalm every day about some of the stuff that I see going on out there. Not like as reactive in a way and dependent on what's happening externally. That doesn't define, like, yeah, what's going on internally anymore. And so, yeah, kind of withdrawn from being so dependent on what's happening outside of me to affect, yeah, how I'm going to show up and how I'm going to respond and how I get to be, you know, for myself. So, yeah, so intolerant, rigid, and shut down, so ego-insistent. The ego insistent on its own way and its own self-importance and self-pity. The victim consciousness to the nth degree. Poor me, poor me, poor me. I mean, and really, too, it's just kind of funny because of the persecution complexes and how that's played out and been playing out, and it's playing out currently right now. It's so interesting how people are really manipulated into certain things. And, yeah. That's a story for another day. I feel like I would like to go further into that, but not today. And so I did realize, yeah, I'm sorry. Really, I'm sorry, but please forgive yourself. And so I was like writing this as it was like I was writing it to my sister, but I knew it was a message for myself too. Just please forgive yourself. So help yourself and love yourself and choose yourself. Choose to live for yourself and be yourself, free yourself, love yourself, remember yourself. And, you know, like, you may not have liked or enjoyed or agreed with what I had to say, but I needed to say those things and move forward. Yeah, and let you do it in your own way. And so I realized, too, it was just like that was giving me permission, like, to say things and to feel things and to see things how I see them. And it's okay if no one else is pleased by them. And that was like really like my safety and survival strategies. And that's why I was so angry at everyone else for not seeing it my way, because that like put me in a position where I didn't feel safe. And I thought I was going to be burned at the stake and put into a re-education camp, because everyone else around me was so blind to what was happening. And it made me so angry that they didn't want to see and they didn't want to believe me. And I took it so personally, yeah. And it just showed me, like, yeah, how I got stuck so easily or hooked and baited into self-pity and being different and being misunderstood. You know. And so letting go Flowering, blooming, becoming, growing, expanding, expressing, coalescing, self-realizing, soul-knowing, remembering, wholeness and unity, blessing and wishing well all beings. Everyone is well, everyone well, I am well, all is well, we are well, love, be well. So, well, wow, and how, and I don't even know where to begin. It's so funny how old patterns and old wounds and stories are coming up to the surface to be seen, and then poof, there's an awareness, a choice, and a knowing of some kind to let go of all the old insecurities and trust that love is here right now. Trust the love that's here right now. That is and has always been and will always be. So let go of lack and limitation, let go of fear, control, and intimidation, let go of doubt, uncertainty, and needing to know, let go of pleasing and being comfortable and performing or performance pressures, expectations and should be's and shouldn't be's, just be here now. So like, yeah, some of that performance pressure and some of that, oh gosh, you know, like how am I going to say this in a way that they're going to, but it's not going to upset them, like walking on eggshells, or like how do I phrase this in a way that I can still, you know, explain to them, yeah, how I feel about this or what my opinion is, but without pissing them off, or, you know, just like, it was like censoring, self-canceling, and keeping stuff to myself, like, so that it didn't upset someone else. So that I could be safe, but it wasn't honoring of me, and it wasn't honoring of the other, and there wasn't any space for me to have my opinion or my own experience or my own perceptions of the way I see things and, yeah, how I see me and we. And so I was leaving myself out, I was excluding myself, and that's why I always felt like the exile, because I wasn't ever making the room for my whole truthful self. So all these things have helped me see that, like, in certain ways, through my own relationships that I had, that really I saw as lacking, but they were a mirror for me, so I could see where I wasn't being true to myself. And so May 1st, 2023, Beltane. Healing the split and the polarization. Understanding, trusting, empathizing, surrendering, forgiving, presencing, being willing. I am willing. Detachment, discernment, and humility. Accountability. Shedding old skin. Tell new stories, true stories, good stories, fun stories, love stories, healing stories, freeing stories, creative stories, beautiful, wonderful, magical stories, empowering stories, living, breathing, liberating stories. I felt feelings of frustration, irritation, restlessness, mistrust, annoyance, agitation, disappointment and disillusionment, resistance and attachment, expectation and dissatisfaction, and I know it's not all mine. And sometimes that's even more, or it seems and it feels more uncomfortable and unsettling. I just need to be okay with the chaos and know it's a part of the whole in our creative energy, wanting to move and to change. So I woke up this morning at 5 and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I got up and I showered and I got ready to go meet a friend and go take care of some of my mom's things that I had kind of pushed to the side. And so, yeah, kind of like getting certain things little by little, step by step. It feels like I've been moving at a snail's pace, like almost like I've been walking through water, you know, treading water. Just like everything has felt like a little more like I've needed to effort a little bit more. But then when I like just relax and I lean into it, then I can move through the resistance of it. And it doesn't have to be so hard.